CreepyCorner stories.
Hey folks, before we dive into tonight's stories, I want to give a huge thank you to Kieran Tibbetts and Lisa Collin for supporting the channel and being amazing members. If you'd like to help me keep creating these stories, feel free to become a member. It really helps the channel grow. I'm planning to continue exploring more than just the dark web tales, so if you enjoy what you hear tonight, you're in the right place. Now, grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and let's step into another amazing night with you and me together. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. It means the world to me and helps keep the horror alive. And tell me in the comments, what kind of story hits you the hardest? The ones that feel too real, or the ones that could actually happen to someone you know? There's a dark web charity in my town called Feed Bobby. It's not for the homeless. Okay, this is going to sound crazy, and trust me, I know how it sounds, but I need to write this down somewhere before I forget the details, or before something happens to me. And I swear, I'm not the kind of person who usually posts on Reddit. I'm not into creepypasta. I'm not into scary stories, and I'm definitely not the type to go poking around in places I shouldn't. But this isn't some made-up r/no sleep horror story. This happened to me last month in real life. So a little background. I live in this pretty average college town in Oregon. Nothing too wild. We've got your basic stuff. A couple of Starbucks, an Applebee's, that one cursed McDonald's everyone says is haunted because the ice cream machine never works. You know the type. And this huge abandoned Kmart that they keep saying they're going to turn into a Planet Fitness, but it's been sitting there for like 7 years. I'm 22. I do freelance graphic design and sometimes edit TikToks for this wannabe YouTuber who thinks he's the next Mr. Beast. Chill job, pays the bills, nothing special. I mostly work from my car or at the local library. Life was pretty boring, honestly, until I saw the flyer. It was around 11:30 p.m. I had just come out of Walmart. I remember because I went in to buy one of those cheap LED strips for the back of my TV and ended up walking out with 2 bags of hot Cheetos and 0 LED strips. Classic. Anyway, I get to my car and see this paper tucked under my wiper blade. I thought it was a parking violation at first, or maybe one of those scam windshield repair ads. But when I picked it up, it was printed on thick, matte black paper. No colors, no logos, just white text in this weirdly clean, sterile font. Feed Bobby every Sunday at 3 a.m. Come hungry. Leave silent. Charity begins at home. Then there was a QR code at the bottom. No phone number, no website, no address. Just that. Now look, I've lived here for years and never once heard of any charity called Feed Bobby. I figured it was some underground soup kitchen or something for the local homeless. Or maybe some edgy street art campaign. Either way, it was 3 a.m. on a Sunday. Pretty weird time for a food bank. Of course, being the dumb, curious idiot that I am, I scanned the QR code. Yeah, I know. It opened up a weird web page on the dark web. I mean full-on .onion domain. Now, before you ask, no, I don't normally browse the dark web. I had Tor installed because I used it for a Reddit rabbit hole about online privacy a year ago, and I forgot to delete it. I don't use it. I'm not a hacker or some 4chan keyboard gremlin. The site had no title, just a black background and white text. Welcome. Bobby is hungry. Will you feed him? And 2 buttons. YES. NO. I clicked NO. The site instantly closed itself, like the whole browser just force quit. Tor froze and crashed. I tried reopening it, and everything was wiped. No history, no cache, nothing. Okay, whatever. It creeped me out, but I wasn't exactly shaking in my boots or anything. Probably just some weird viral marketing stunt. I tossed the flyer in my glove compartment and went home. That was Sunday. Monday, I got a weird DM on Instagram. Now this is where things start getting seriously messed up. The account that messaged me had no profile picture, no posts, no followers. The username was just a random string of letters and numbers like XV8Z3F9B22. The message just said, "You said no. Bobby is still hungry." I didn't respond. I blocked the account. Then I went back to the flyer in my glove compartment, and this is the part that still gives me full body chills to think about. The flyer had changed. Same paper, same size, but the text was different. Feed Bobby. You were chosen. Saying no is not enough. This Sunday, 3 a.m., behind the old Kmart. Charity begins at home. That wasn't there before. I swear to God, I remember exactly what it said. I even took a picture of it when I first found it. I always snap photos of weird stuff for my private Insta stories. I checked the pic in my camera roll, and the one in my hand didn't match. At this point, I was done messing around. I threw the paper out the window and started driving home, but I couldn't shake this weird feeling. You know that feeling like someone's watching you from the back seat? That stomach drop, paranoia kind of feeling. Yeah, the next few days were weird. I started getting anonymous texts from numbers that would disappear as soon as I replied. My food delivery apps kept glitching, showing me random locations around town, like the McDonald's parking lot or the woods near the high school, as recommended pickup points. I'd wake up and find food on my porch. Raw meat, wrapped in newspaper, no note. The newspaper was always soaked through. I couldn't tell if it was blood or something else. Then on Saturday night, my phone alarm went off at exactly 2:43 a.m. I hadn't set any alarm. The title on the alarm just said, "Charity begins at home." I know I should have called the cops. I know I should have told someone. But what do you even say? "Hey officer, someone keeps telling me to feed a guy named Bobby at 3 a.m, and now my phone's possessed." They'd throw me in a padded room before they helped me. So I did what any sleep-deprived idiot with unresolved curiosity and a death wish would do. I went to the abandoned Kmart at 3 a.m. and that's where I'm gonna leave part 1. Because what I saw there, it wasn't just creepy. It was wrong. Not horror movie wrong. Reality is broken wrong. Let me know if you want part 2. But I'm warning you, it gets worse. Way worse. You ever feel like the air changes when something unnatural is near you? Not the weather, not some breeze or fog rolling in, but like the air itself knows something isn't right. Like the space around you just bends slightly, warping in a way your brain tries to ignore so you don't lose your grip. That's what it felt like when I pulled into the parking lot behind the old Kmart that night. There was no wind, no sound, not even the distant hum of cars on the freeway. Just that dead static silence that buzzes in your skull like a mosquito you can't swat. 3 a.m. on the dot. I parked far from the building, engine off, headlights out. Just enough moonlight to see the massive cracked windows and the rusted letters barely spelling out K-A-R-T. A few of the letters had fallen off, and the front doors were chained up with caution tape. Useless. since the backloading dock was wide open. There were other cars, 5 of them, all spaced out, like they didn't want to be seen arriving together. Every single one had the license plates removed. One was a black SUV with tinted windows, so dark they looked painted over. Another was this rusted-out Toyota Camry that looked like it hadn't passed inspection since 2009. One of them still had the engine running, but no one was inside. No one. At least not in the cars. I thought maybe I was early. Maybe I was the only idiot who actually showed up. But then I saw the light. Not a normal light. Not white or yellow. Red. Dim and pulsing, like the glow of a furnace deep underground. It flickered from somewhere inside the dock entrance, bleeding out onto the cracked pavement like something bleeding from a wound. I left my phone in the glove box. I don't know why. Maybe part of me knew I wasn't supposed to record what I was about to see. Or maybe I just didn't want to bring any of it home. The dock was wide open. Inside was a short hallway that led into the main warehouse area, lit by nothing but that throbbing red glow. And on the walls, written in something that looked like tar, or blood dried so long it turned black, were handprints. Dozens, all child-sized. I walked slowly. Every step echoed like a gunshot in that place. The smell was what got to me most. It wasn't rot, exactly. It was hot, like old meat left inside a running dryer, thick and oily. The air had weight to it, like walking through syrup. At the end of the hallway was a door. On the front, painted in careful black letters, feeding room. Underneath, do not speak. Do not scream. Do not say Bobby's name. I should have left. I should have turned around and sprinted out of that place, called the cops, done anything else. But I didn't. I opened the door. Inside was a massive open space, what used to be the warehouse, part of the KMART. The walls were covered in black plastic tops, stapled up sloppily, with some parts drooping and revealing huge chunks of crumbled drywall underneath. Fluorescent lights above flickered dimly, barely functioning, and in the middle of the room there was a table, a long metal table, like something from a morgue, stainless steel, but stained dark with something. The smell hit me again, worse this time, wet copper, mold, and something sharp like ammonia. There were people in the room, 10, maybe 15, all wearing black hoodies with the hoods up, faces completely hidden in shadow. Not a word, not a sound, just waiting. And in the corner of the room, sitting on the floor in a pool of dark liquid that reflected the red light like a mirror, was Bobby. He didn't look human. At first, I thought it was a mannequin, limbs too long, head slouched sideways, like his neck had snapped. His skin was gray, like candle wax left out in the sun too long, and his fingers were too many. I counted 6 on one hand. He was facing the wall, twitching slightly, breathing in sharp, jerky movements like a broken machine, trying to run on low battery. His ribs stuck out like blades. He made this wet, chewing noise, even though his mouth was closed. Then someone behind me coughed. I turned. One of the hooded people stepped forward and placed something on the metal table, a paper plate, and on the plate was a human hand, cleanly severed, fingernails painted pink, wedding ring still on. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My body locked up like every nerve was being strangled. The plate was pushed to the end of the table, and the lights in the room dimmed lower, until it was just the red glow. And Bobby turned. He dragged himself across the room. He didn't walk. He didn't crawl. He slithered, like his bones weren't connected right. like something had broken him and he never healed, but he learned to move anyway. His face, his eyes were just deep sockets, no eyeballs, just empty black pits that reflected nothing. His jaw was cracked wide open, far too wide, and when he reached the plate, he opened his mouth sideways, like his jaw had been unhinged and pulled apart, and he began to eat, not like an animal, like he was starving. It wasn't until the third plate that I realized what I was seeing. These weren't donations, they were offerings. Every plate was a piece of someone, a foot, a scalp, a tongue, and not just fresh. Some of them looked processed, like they had been preserved, wrapped in butcher paper and stamped. One even had a barcode sticker on it from Safeway. Someone had packaged these like groceries. The hooded people didn't flinch. They just stood, one by one, and placed their plate. One guy pulled a cooler from under his coat and dropped a bag of raw meat onto the table. It squelched when it landed. Then it was my turn. I didn't have anything. I didn't know this was real. I didn't know I was supposed to bring something. Everyone turned toward me. Their hoods didn't move, but I felt their eyes. All of them, watching me, waiting. Bobby stopped chewing. That awful sucking sound paused, and he raised his head. Not toward me, not exactly, just sensing, like a spider feeling the air for vibration. And then he smiled. It split his face in half. The corners of his mouth tore as he grinned, splitting the skin until blood ran down his chin like black syrup. He whispered something I didn't understand, and the lights went out. I woke up in my car, driver's seat reclined, engine cold, no one around. I checked the time, 5:24 a.m., 2 hours gone. I was clean, no blood, no injuries, just one thing out of place. In my lap was a grocery bag. Inside, one pack of raw meat wrapped in butcher paper, a plastic fork, and a note, scrawled in shaky handwriting, like someone had never used a pen before. Next week, bring better. I tried to go to the police. I sat outside the station for an hour before driving away. What would I say? Hey, there's a monster in the abandoned Kmart that eats people on Sundays at 3 a.m. They'd send me to psych. But the worst part, they knew. I saw a cop car drive past the Kmart last Sunday. It didn't stop. It didn't even slow down. Now every Sunday, I get a new message. Different number every time. Hungry? You owe Bobby. He remembers you. And last night, I got a photo. Me, standing in the feeding room, smiling. But I don't remember smiling. I don't even remember being conscious. If you're still here, you don't understand what this is. Neither did I. But I'm starting to think. This town was built around Bobby, and nobody here leaves hungry. Not forever. It's been 19 days since the last feeding. That's 19 nights of silence from Bobby. 19 nights of pretending I was never there. 19 nights of lying awake, waiting for the knock that hasn't come. But last night, it finally did. They didn't knock on my front door. They knocked on my bedroom window. And they didn't knock with a fist. They used a teeth-chattering, jagged object. It sounded like bone. The kind of dry clicking you hear when someone taps a pencil against their teeth, over and over until it snaps. It didn't stop for 10 minutes. And when I finally got the courage to pull the curtain back, there was nothing there. No person, no prints, no sounds. Just a single Polaroid, taped to the glass from the outside. On the back was scrawled, "We never forget the ones who owe." And the photo, it was me. From that night. But it was different. I was smiling again, but this time, I wasn't alone in the picture. Behind me, standing less than an inch from the back of my neck, was a shape. Not a person, just a shape. Something tall, gaunt, with fingers that reached all the way to the floor, and a jaw unhinged down to its chest. One of its eyes looked like it was stitched shut. The other wasn't an eye at all. It was a camera lens. That's when I realized something. Bobby doesn't just feed. Bobby collects. I tried throwing the Polaroid away, burning it, dousing it in bleach, ripping it up, and flushing it. No matter what I did, it came back. Next morning, it was sitting on the seat of my car. Afternoon, in the fridge. Once, I found it inside my toothbrush holder, wrapped around the bristles. But it was what came next that pushed everything over the edge. What made me realize that this thing, this organization, wasn't just some sick local cult. It was bigger, older, and everywhere. 3 nights ago, I took a trip, drove out to Seattle to clear my head. 5 hours, music blasting, windows down, just air, wind, and the faint hope that maybe, just maybe, this thing didn't travel, that it was tied to that cursed town, like a bad infection. I was wrong. Stopped at a gas station just outside of Bellevue. Late, maybe 2:30 a.m. The place was dead quiet, except for this old woman at the counter. She looked like someone straight out of a wax museum, skin sagging off the bone, eyes too wide, lips dry and colorless. I walked past her, didn't think anything of it, until she said, "You still owe Bobby. You know that, don't you?" I froze, didn't turn around, didn't speak, just walked out, back into the car, heart pounding so hard it felt like it was cracking ribs on the way up. When I looked in the rearview mirror, she was standing behind the counter, smiling, with one hand up, like she was waving goodbye. Except she wasn't waving. She was counting down. 3 fingers, then 2, then 1. Then she mouthed, "Come home." I got back the next morning to find my door unlocked. Not kicked in, just unlocked. And inside, on the living room floor, was a plate. No note, no bag, just a paper plate, soaked red, with something sitting on top of it. It was a tongue. Fresh, wet, still twitching. I didn't ask where it came from. I didn't need to. Because when I checked my phone, I had a text from a blocked number. No message, just a live photo. It was of a man, maybe in his 30s, tied to a chair in what looked like a school gymnasium, duct tape over his mouth, eyes wide. There was a timestamp, 3:02 a.m. Then the photo moved. You know how live photos play a few seconds of video? Yeah. In the last second of the clip, a gloved hand reached into frame with a pair of kitchen scissors, and the man's mouth dropped open into a scream I couldn't hear. The photo cut off before it finished, but I knew what happened. It wasn't just about feeding Bobby anymore. This was a debt, a blood debt, and I had until Sunday. I tried everything. Police? They took a report, laughed it off, and told me to stay off the internet. Internet? Useless. Every time I tried to post about Feed Bobby, my account would be banned within minutes. Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, even Pinterest. I emailed a guy who ran a dark web whistleblower site, told him everything, never heard back, until 3 days later, when his face showed up on the news. Local man found dead in car trunk, tongue and eyes removed. Guess what they found in the glove box? A paper plate. I don't sleep anymore. I try, but every time I close my eyes I hear them. Not Bobby, the others, the ones who bring the offerings. I hear them whispering outside my house. I see them in places people shouldn't be. Behind me, at Starbucks, sitting 3 rows back at the movies, standing in the cereal aisle at Target, staring at me through the gap in the shelves, always wearing hoods, always silent. And every Sunday, 3 a.m., I feel it. The pull, like gravity, like hunger, like something inside my ribs trying to turn itself inside out just to escape. Last night, I made my choice. I wasn't going back to that warehouse, but I wasn't going to disappear either. So I left my own plate, not behind the Kmart, in someone's house. Someone I used to know. Someone who used to bully me in high school. Guy who once locked me in a janitor's closet and pissed on the door while laughing with his friends. I broke in through the basement window, sat in his kitchen for an hour while he slept upstairs. He had a dog, friendly, a golden retriever. I didn't hurt it, but I made it watch. When I left, the plate was on the table. The offering was enough. Bobby didn't visit that night. He was satisfied, but I wasn't, because now I know the truth. This isn't a game. It's not a cult. It's a network, a machine. And every single person who feeds Bobby becomes part of it. There's no escaping, no walking away. The only way out is through someone else. You pass the debt along. You give the hunger to someone worse than you. You feed him, not just flesh, but people who deserve it, people who've earned it. The predators, the sick, the corrupt, the ones nobody would miss. And that's where I am now. You want the truth? I stopped running. I've started collecting. I don't need to wait for Sunday anymore. I've learned to speak Bobby's name the right way. Not aloud, not in words, but in action, in offering. And tonight's plate is special. A surgeon who faked terminal diagnoses for cash. He used to smile on Instagram, post beach photos from Dubai, while mothers cried themselves to sleep. He's not smiling now. Tomorrow, someone new will wake up with a flyer on their windshield, and they'll think it's a joke. They'll think Feed Bobby is just a meme. They'll scan the code. They'll click no, and the hunger will come for them too. You still think this is a story? Ask yourself this. How did you get here? And why is your window open? Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt a memory rot inside your head? Not fade, not drift. Rot, like something dead sitting inside your skull, bloating in the dark, leaking into every thought until even your dreams stink of it. That's what my life is now. A slow, wet decay of everything I used to be. Sunday came again, but Sunday never ends anymore. The first kill was the hardest. That bully from high school. I told myself he deserved it, remember? Told myself he was cruel, that he was a predator, that I was balancing the scale. I even tried to act like it was a sacrifice, a ritual, something sacred, but that's not what it was. It was a test, and the moment I passed it, Bobby came home. I was in the shower. That's where it started. Late night, water steaming, just trying to scrub off the imaginary filth I can't feel anymore. I closed my eyes for 2 seconds and opened them in the dark. I wasn't in my bathroom anymore. I was lying naked on cold tile, wet and shivering, somewhere underground, somewhere deep. I couldn't see, but I could hear something moving, breathing. It wasn't Bobby. It was something bigger, something he came from, something that made Bobby look like a stillborn twin left behind when the real creature tore itself into existence. It circled me in the dark for hours, never touched me, just whispered one thing, over and over, more. I woke up in bed with dried water on my skin and a lock of hair in my hand. Not mine, still warm. It was tied with a red thread, like a ribbon, and it smelled like vanilla shampoo. I checked the news later that morning. Local college girl, Missing. Last seen leaving a 24-hour McDonald's off the highway. They said there were no signs of struggle. That's when I realized the game had changed. I wasn't just feeding Bobby anymore. I was feeding the system, and it doesn't want the guilty. It wants the valuable. It wants the loved, the pure, the ones who leave a hole when they're gone. Because that's the real hunger, not flesh. Absence. They taught me how to harvest it. That's the word they use. Harvest. It's not about killing. Not at first. You start small. Pull them out of routines. Warp their patterns. Isolate. Confuse. Break their calendar. Turn a dependable person into a question mark. You erode them until the people who love them start to wonder, are they okay? And then you take them at the height of absence, at the peak of panic, when the missing becomes unbearable. That's when the meat is ripe. I didn't want to learn any of this, but the whispers never stopped. They don't speak like we do. They come through mirrors, through reflections that don't move when you do, through your own voice, twisted and bouncing off your phone's speaker late at night when no call is incoming. They showed me the hallway. That's what they call it. It's not a place. It's not a dream. It's the space between your thoughts when you lie to yourself. And Bobby lives under it. He listens to the cracks in your self-denial. He waits in the stutter between I'm fine and I'm not okay. And when he hears it, he smiles. I visited a feed site last week, not the Kmart. This one was in Chicago, beneath a Starbucks downtown, in the maintenance tunnels the city forgot existed. You ever sit in a cafe and wonder where the weird door behind the counter leads? It leads down, always down. They were feeding him differently here. It wasn't raw anymore. They'd prepared it. Human meat shaped into familiar forms. Meatballs, nuggets, sliders, little toothpick flags stuck in each one. Some said organic. Others just had emojis, smiley faces, hearts, skulls. They were eating it. All of them. Like it was normal. I recognized a few people. YouTubers, TikTokers, an actor from some Netflix series I binge-watched last year. Smiling, laughing, swapping plates. And in the corner, a kid, maybe 9, hooded, holding Bobby's leash. You read that right. A leash. Like Bobby was a pet now. No, not a pet. A product. Something leashed to the corporate feeding frenzy of attention, content, brand deals. They weren't afraid of him. They were marketing him. One of them saw me staring. She came over, blonde, sunglasses indoors, way too calm. She said, "You're local, right?" "Oregon." I nodded. "Good. There's a launch happening soon. We're expanding to Canada. You'll be part of Intake." I asked what Intake meant. She just smiled and handed me a clipboard. On it were names, not just randoms. People I knew. People I went to school with. Old co-workers. Even my mother. I threw the clipboard on the ground. Told her I was out. She didn't get angry. She didn't even blink. She leaned in, close enough that I could smell the rot behind her perfume, and whispered, "You don't quit, Bobby. You either keep feeding him, or you become the plate." I woke up in my bed again, clipboard in my lap. Half the names already crossed off. I don't know what's real anymore. Time doesn't work right. I see the same people die twice. I meet strangers who already know me. Sometimes the moon has a face, and it smiles. I'm still me. But I'm not alone in here. There's something behind my eyes now. Something that moves before I do. That reacts faster than I think. It hungers. I fed it someone last night. A woman who faked GoFundMe pages using stock images of sick children. Her body's gone now. Not buried. Not hidden. Just Gone. I left it out. No plate, no ceremony. And in the morning, my fridge was stocked. Full. Meat, fruit, milk, bread, even my favorite cereal. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They reward service. There's a storm coming. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean literally. All across the country, next Sunday, every weather report shows 3 a.m. thunderstorms. Every city, every state, all at once. And those of us who serve, we've been told what to do, not with words, with dreams. We gather, we open the gates, we prepare the tables, because this isn't just about Bobby anymore. He was the beginning, he was the invitation. Now the dining hall is full, and we are the hosts. You still think this is a story? Then ask yourself, why is your refrigerator humming so loud? And why does the milk expire on Sunday at 3 a.m.? There's no use pretending anymore. The world ended on a Sunday, but not with fire, not with nukes or a virus or some asteroid carving the earth in half like a rotten peach. It ended when everyone started eating. It was quiet at first, a few whispers online, a live stream that lasted 47 seconds before being scrubbed from every server, a drop in meat prices nationwide, even though every major processing plant had been shut down for months. People joked about it. Mystery Meat Mondays. Bobby Burgers. They laughed. They always laugh until they taste it. And once you taste it, you don't go back, not because it's addicting, because your body starts needing it, craving that absence, that void, that disappearance of someone else inside you. I watched a woman in line at Walmart collapse into a seizure because she bit into a normal chicken nugget, just a regular one. Tyson brand. She screamed until her jaw dislocated. They dragged her away, calmly. 2 men in Feed Bobby aprons, with smiles. They said she was just having a reaction to preservatives. They knew she was starving. Starving for what she couldn't name anymore. Starving for us. I'm not writing this from a house anymore. Houses are gone. Cities, gone. Governments, please. All of them fed first. The moment they tried to stop it, they were handed plates of their own families, prepared perfectly, and they ate. They always eat, because that's the truth. Everyone eats. The sky broke open at 3 a.m., just like the storm warning said. Every country, every continent. The clocks all froze at that moment. No ticking, no beeping, just a single, worldwide chime, like a grandfather clock, splitting through time and bone. And then the sky turned inside out. You don't understand what that means until you see it. Clouds inhaling themselves, stars bending into spirals, planes falling from above like dead birds, their wings twitching with something alive crawling under the metal. And then came the tables. They rose from the ground, not built, not summoned, revealed, like they were always there, beneath the surface, beneath the roads, beneath the schools, beneath every Starbucks and McDonald's and Whole Foods. Long black banquet tables, endless, twisting through the cities like veins, and people sat down, willingly. Mothers, children, influencers, Uber drivers, priests, sitting in perfect posture, heads tilted like they'd been told a joke only they understood. And the plates came next. Always paper, always greasy, and always personal, because you never get just anyone. You get someone you once knew, someone whose name your brain forgot, but your bones remember, someone who once made you smile, or cry, or bleed, because Bobby doesn't just feed on bodies, he feeds on connection. I watched a father take a bite of his daughter's wrist. She was laughing as she bled out onto the tablecloth. I watched a woman deep fry her own brother's forearm in an air fryer She pulled from her purse. She offered me a bite. I took it. I won't lie to you. I'm not here to warn you anymore. You're already part of it. You think this is fiction, a story. Then tell me, why does your stomach growl when you read this? Why did your freezer hum louder after part 2? Why did your favorite food start to taste off last week? You've already tasted it. Maybe it was that late night burger. Maybe it was a sausage pizza from that sketchy place with no Yelp reviews. Maybe it was just a sample handed to you at Costco with a too wide smile and no packaging in sight. You ate it. Everyone does. Now I walk the tables, not as a feeder, not as a plate, as a server, one of the chosen, marked with the barcode burned under my tongue, given my own apron, black, stitched with red, no name tag, just a symbol, a fork, upside down. I bring the meals now. I whisper the menu into ears that used to belong to celebrities, presidents, YouTubers with merch lines, and they nod, and they eat, and they thank me, always thank me, even as they cry, because they know this is all there is now. This is the final hunger. Bobby? Bobby is the mouth. But what feeds through him? What uses him? That's not a name I can say, but I saw it once, during a storm, in the reflection of a TV screen left on static. It had no face, no form, just a tablecloth, endless, black, stained with centuries of grease and ink and blood, and voices coming from inside your own head saying, Course 1, Course 2, Course 3. And when you scream, they smile, because screaming aerates the meat, makes it tender. There is no part 6. There is no rescue. There is no cure. There is only one question left. Who's on your plate tonight? Because you don't get to choose. Not anymore. You sat down long ago. You smiled. You picked up your fork. And now, it's your turn to feed. I found my childhood tapes uploaded to the dark web. One of them shows me dying. Yo. Okay, so I wasn't really planning on sharing this story. I know a lot of people on Reddit throw around creepiest thing ever happened to me, like it's clickbait. But I promise you, this thing has messed with me in a way I can't really explain. Context. I'm 24 now, living in Chicago, working as a freelance graphic designer. Read, I sit at Starbucks mooching Wi-Fi and drinking overpriced coffee. I grew up in a smaller town in Illinois, a place called Canton. Nothing crazy ever happened there. Just cornfields, Dollar Generals, and kids riding their bikes around like it was still 1999. Anyway, a few months ago, my mom sold our old house, the one I grew up in. She's moving to Florida with her new boyfriend, some dude named Gary, who wears sunglasses indoors. She asked me if I could come help clean out the attic before the new owners moved in. I didn't really want to go back, but she said I could keep anything I found that was mine. So I drove down, stayed the night, and the next morning I climbed up into that attic. Hadn't been up there in probably 12 years. The air was thick, smelled like insulation and rat poop. I brought one of those portable LED lights from Walmart to see better and just started digging through boxes. That's when I found it. A shoebox, labeled in faded Sharpie. Home movies, 2003 to 2007. Inside were 4 dusty VHS tapes and a mini DV camcorder. Yeah, one of those old Sony Handycam things with a flip-out screen. It was rusted around the buttons, but still clicked on. I took everything back with me to Chicago because I was low-key curious to see what was on them. I didn't even have a VCR So I posted on a local Facebook marketplace group, asking if anyone was selling one. Some guy in Wicker Park had one for $10. Sketchy dude. He had like 6 teeth. Looked like he was trying to sell more than electronics, if you get my drift. But whatever. I got the VCR, took it home, hooked it up to my old flat screen, and popped in the first tape. And bro, this is where it gets weird. Tape 1. Park Day 2003. It was just me and my sister, Tori, at the park with my dad. Super basic stuff. Slides, monkey bars. My dad recording us as we played tag. I couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 years old. There's even this moment where I stop running, look straight at the camera and say, I don't like the man in the trees. And I swear to you, no lie, when I said that, the camera pans slightly to the right and catches this figure standing way in the distance behind the swings. Tall, like 6 feet 5 inches at least. Wearing all black. You can't see a face, just the outline. He's not moving, just standing there, half hidden behind a tree. My dad zooms in a bit, then pulls the camera away and keeps recording us like nothing happened. That's it. Tape ends. I was already feeling a little creeped out, but I told myself it was probably just a jogger or some park staff. You know how memory works. Maybe I was just a weird kid who made up stuff. Tape 2. Sleepover at Grandma's, 2004. This one's filmed inside my grandma's old house. She passed in 2010. There's a shot of me sitting on the carpet, playing with LEGOS, and Tori filming me from behind the couch. I keep looking over my shoulder, like I'm hearing something. Then I say, he's in the window again. The camera moves fast, shakes a bit as Tori pans toward the big living room window. Nothing there. But frame by frame, if you pause at the right moment, and I swear this isn't just paranoia, you can see something reflected in the glass. A face. Not a full face. More like a smudged white mask. Almost like it was drawn in chalk, just hovering behind the glass, even though the camera's inside the house. I turned the TV off after that. The silence was deafening. Even the buzzing from the VCR gave me chills. I was done for the night. But curiosity's a hell of a thing. Here's where it gets dark. About 2 weeks later, I was scrolling through TikTok, just chilling in bed, when I got a DM on Instagram from an account with no profile picture. The username was just a string of random letters and numbers. The message said, check the 4th tape. Watch it alone. Lights off. I didn't even tell anyone about the tapes. Not my girlfriend, not my friends. No posts. Nothing. My heart dropped a little, but I tried to shake it off. I replied, who is this? No response. I blocked the account, but that message kept echoing in my head all night. I couldn't sleep. I even checked my door lock like 3 times. The next day, I caved. Tape 4. Untitled. There's no label on this one. Just black tape. No date. When I put it in, it starts with static, then cuts to a dim room. The camera's on a tripod or something. It's shaky, but still. And then, I walk into the frame. Like me. Same hair. Same scar on my eyebrow from when I fell off my bike in 2nd grade. Except, I'm older. Same age as I am now. Except I don't remember filming this. I don't even remember being there. I sit down in the chair in the middle of the room, and I look directly into the camera, and I say, if you're watching this, it's already too late. He knows you found the tapes. Then the camera glitches. For real, the screen goes fuzzy, and for a split second, a new frame appears. It's me. Dead. Face down in what looks like a bathtub, blood smeared on the white towels. then static again, and the tape ends. I didn't sleep that night. I unplugged the VCR, shoved it in the back of my closet. I even covered my webcam with tape, like one of those paranoid people. But something still felt off, because when I checked the camcorder again, the old Sony one I found with the tapes, it had one video file stored internally. It was time-stamped 2 days after I found the tapes. The title: Upload Successful. Market ID number 773942. I googled that. Nothing. But when I went on Reddit and searched dark web market IDs, one thread came up from r/deepweb. Some guy mentioned a black market database that stores footage not meant for surface eyes. Snuff videos, ghost tapes, cursed reels. Market ID numbers are used for internal indexing, and mine was there. Marked, confirmed, category, living deaths / pre-recorded. I know how this sounds. I know this is the part where people say it's just a prank or it's ARG stuff. But this wasn't a game, because the morning after I watched that last tape, I woke up to a notification on my phone. A YouTube video had been uploaded under a random account. No views, no likes, no tags, just one video. The title: Watch Him Disappear. And the thumbnail: it was my bedroom, taken from inside my closet. After watching the video titled Watch Him Disappear, the one with the thumbnail of my bedroom taken from inside my closet, I sat there for what felt like an hour without blinking. I couldn't even feel my body. My skin felt hollow, like my nerves were on mute. Everything around me, my walls, my furniture, the whirring of my laptop fan, all of it just stopped meaning anything. I didn't click the video. I couldn't. I slammed my laptop shut, grabbed my hoodie and keys, and left my apartment. Didn't even put on socks. I just walked out the door, down the street, past the McDonald's on Belmont. I didn't even have a plan, just needed to breathe somewhere else. I ended up sitting at the 24-hour Starbucks near Millennium Park. It was half empty, just a security guard in the corner and a barista who kept giving me weird looks because I wasn't ordering anything. I sat there for hours, scrolling, searching, trying to find anyone who had experienced something similar, someone who had found tapes like this, someone who'd seen themselves die. But every post I found on Reddit or TikTok felt fake, just ARGs, hoaxes, creepy reviews. Not this, not what I had, because the thumbnail in that video, you could see my jacket hanging on the door. You could see my phone charger on the floor. You could even see the crack in my mirror from when I dropped it last summer. It was taken in the last 48 hours, and I live alone. Or at least, I thought I did. I went back home around 3 a.m. The second I stepped inside, I knew something was wrong. Not like something feels off wrong. I mean, objectively, things were different. The chair at my desk was turned toward the closet. My toothbrush was on the left side of the sink, not the right. My fridge door was slightly open, all subtle, all small, all intentional, like someone was telling me they'd been here. I checked the closet immediately. Nothing inside, no cameras, no holes in the wall, but the air in there felt wrong, thick, almost humid. And the weirdest part? There was this tiny piece of paper stuck between the floorboards. Looked torn from a larger page, maybe from a notebook. Someone had written on it in sharp, tiny handwriting, like the kind you only see in psych wards or serial killer movies. It said, "Don't look at him too long. He looks back." No signature, no date. The video played. Itself, I swear to you. I never pressed play. I left my laptop in my bedroom when I went to shower, trying to convince myself I was imagining everything. Just stress, sleep deprivation, maybe even a prank. I let the hot water run way too long, steam fogging up the mirror so much I couldn't even see my own reflection. But when I stepped out and walked into my room, the screen was on, and the YouTube video, the one I was too afraid to play, it was already playing. There was no sound, just glitchy, staticky footage of my bedroom from different angles, almost like it was being live streamed from multiple hidden cameras. You could see me brushing my teeth, me putting on socks, me tossing a pillow onto the bed, all from different angles, but none of them matched where my laptop was sitting. They were from inside the walls. And then, around the 3:12 mark in the video, you see my bedroom door open, you see someone walk in, but it's not just someone, it's me again, but wearing all black, no emotion, just staring at the other me. The me on the video doesn't even react, just lies there, frozen. Then the screen glitches hard, and it cuts to a new clip. This time, it's the same room, but the lights are flickering like they're about to go out, and that version of me, the one dressed in black, starts peeling his face off. Not literally like gore, I mean like mask removal, except there's nothing underneath. No eyes, no skin, just this black static void, like a walking signal outage. And the longer I looked at it, the more it felt like it was looking back at me. I unplugged the laptop from the wall and threw it out onto the balcony. I didn't even care if it shattered. The noise started after that, not like banging or creaking. Worse, typing, coming from inside the closet, like someone was sitting in there with a mechanical keyboard. You could hear the space bar, you could hear the enter key, over and over again, like someone was live blogging my breakdown. I grabbed a broom and flung open the closet. Empty, except, pinned to the back wall, held there by a rusty nail, was a screenshot. A screenshot of my desktop, with a Word document open titled, How He Dies. I read the file. I shouldn't have. I should have burned it. I should have done anything else. But I read it, every word, and it described, in disturbing, calculated detail, the exact way I'd be murdered, not by a stranger, not by an intruder, but by myself, or what looked like me. It described a time, a day, a method, even the last words I would say. I remember now. And then it would end, just like the tape, with me lying face down in the tub. The file ended with one final sentence, bolded in red. You've already started becoming him. The messages started the next morning. Not just Instagram now, but Twitter, TikTok, my business email, even LinkedIn. Random faceless accounts with names like Deadfile 1987 or Miraclone 322, sending me time-stamped images of me walking down the street, screenshots of me from old YouTube videos I forgot I even posted, even shots of my reflection doing things I didn't do. One photo made me actually vomit. It was me sleeping, but my eyes were open. My sister called me. First time in years. Tori and I hadn't talked in forever. She moved to New York, got married, works in marketing. But she called me at 3:09 a.m. Said she had a nightmare about the tapes. Said she didn't even know why, but she dreamed about that day at the park. The man in the trees. Said she saw him again, in her apartment. She whispered into the phone, "He's wearing your face now." Then the call dropped. Her number disconnected. When I called back, it said, "This number is no longer in service." I checked with her company on LinkedIn. She hadn't logged in for 9 days. I don't think this is a curse. I don't think it's even supernatural. I think this is a system, a process. You find the tapes, you watch them. He notices, he watches you back. And once he has your face, once he's mimicked your routines, your patterns, your way of blinking and standing and talking, you're no longer needed. You disappear. Not with a bang, not with a scream. Just one day, you stop being you, and he takes your place. I haven't looked in the mirror in 3 days. I keep catching myself blinking wrong, smiling too long, twitching when no one's watching. I'm scared that if I see myself again, it won't be me anymore. I haven't looked into a mirror in 8 days. I've covered every single one in my apartment, taped up black trash bags over the bathroom one, took down the full body mirror from my closet. I even threw out the little round one I used to keep on my desk, because every time I catch a glimpse of myself now, something feels off. It's not just me seeing a stranger. It's worse. It's me seeing someone who remembers something I don't. I started recording myself while I slept, not because I wanted to, but because I needed proof that I'm still real, that I'm still me. I set up an old phone on a tripod, hit record at night, and left it facing my bed. The first 2 nights, nothing happened. Just hours of tossing and turning, me talking in my sleep, mumbling about things I don't remember doing, like, "You said you wouldn't let him in. Why is it my face now?" Stop dragging her through the hallway. But on the 3rd night, I noticed something that didn't make sense. At exactly 3:06 a.m., the screen glitches, only for 1 frame. But in that single frame, I'm gone. Just an empty bed, no blanket, no pillow indent, nothing. The next frame, I'm right back there, sleeping like nothing happened. The missing hour. Out of paranoia, I bought this off-brand motion tracking sensor off Amazon. You plug it into your phone, and it logs all movement in the room. Kinda like those cheap security cams people use to catch their roommates stealing food. It logs everything by timestamp. On that same night, at 3:06:12 a.m., the sensor logs a massive temperature drop in my room, and then it records 61 minutes of nothing. No motion, no sound, no light. Then, at 4:07:33 a.m., I'm back in bed. Except here's what sent me spiraling. I looked at the footage's metadata. The timestamp for that video file says, captured November 6, 2025, 3:06 a.m. But that was impossible, because at the time, it was only October 14th. That file came from the future, and I don't even remember it being recorded. I went to my mom's place again. I couldn't stay in my apartment anymore. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. So I went back to my mom's temporary place in Florida, where she and Gary, yeah, still weird sunglasses guy, are staying before they move again. She doesn't know anything about the tapes. I never told her. I figured I'd get a few nights of normalcy, but the second I walked in, she stared at me like I was a stranger. She hugged me. Yeah, but it was mechanical, like someone trying to mimic how a mom is supposed to act. And then she said this, "You cut your hair again." I didn't. My hair's been the same for the past 6 months. I told her that, and she just gave me this tight smile, then laughed. "No, you definitely did. You came down 2 weeks ago, remember? You had that scratch on your neck. You said you slipped in the shower. I've never had a scratch on my neck." Then she got quiet. Her face paled, and she said, "Wait, that was you, right? My childhood bedroom wasn't mine anymore." Out of pure gut instinct, I checked the guest room, the one set up like my old bedroom. Same blue walls, same bookshelf, even the old Rugrats comforter I had when I was 6. And on the desk, a printed photo, framed, a photo of me, only. I don't remember ever taking it. I was maybe 13, standing in front of the gas station downtown, wearing a red hoodie I've never owned, smiling in a way that doesn't look like my smile. You ever see a photo of yourself and something just feels wrong? Like the person in the picture is wearing your skin but doesn't know how to use your face? That's what it felt like. And then I flipped it over, written on the back in faded pencil. Always remember which one was first. Everyone around me is changing. Tori hasn't responded to texts. Her number is still dead. I tried emailing her old college friends, DMing people she used to work with. One guy finally answered and said, "Sorry, man. I don't know who that is," I said. "Tori. Victoria, last name. My sister. You guys worked at Lush together in 2019. He replies, "I worked there, but there was no one named Tori. Maybe you're thinking of the other guy who came in last week asking the same thing." The other guy. Someone else was already trying to replace my memories. The supermarket encounter. I walked into a Publix near my mum's place just to get some air. Tried to pretend I was normal for 5 minutes. Grabbed a bottle of water and some snacks. Just as I was heading to self-checkout, an employee, some kid in a green apron, stops me, and he says, "Hey, didn't I help you yesterday?" I told him no. I just got here today. He squinted at me and said, "That's weird. You had a bunch of VHS tapes, same jacket, same scar. You dropped one. I kept it behind the counter." He walks away and comes back, holding a black VHS tape, no label, but written in smeared red ink, like it was scrawled with a finger. "Final cut, archive number 003. I didn't take it. I just left. I didn't want to know what was on that one, because the last time I saw archive number 002, it showed me dead in a bathtub. I'm starting to forget who I am. I woke up this morning and couldn't remember my Gmail password. Then I opened Spotify and realized all my playlists were gone. Not deleted, replaced. Every single one was just loops of static and track titles like "He's Behind You," .mp3, "Don't Blink," .wav, "Mirror Error 404, "It's Already Breathing Through Your Teeth." Then I opened notes on my phone, and there was a draft that I didn't write. It said, "When the upload is complete, you will forget you were ever born. Leave the closet unlocked tonight. He doesn't like being locked out of his own skin. I think there are more than one of me." Now I've gotten 3 emails from accounts with my exact name. One was just a Google Calendar invite titled "Replacement Ceremony, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time." Another was a drive link with a file titled _me.mp4. It's footage of me, standing in front of my apartment, staring into my own window, watching myself sleep. In one part, I turn toward the camera, like I knew I was being recorded, and smile, then walk away, calmly, like I had nowhere else to be except inside my own life. I don't know if I'm still the original. I don't even know if there was an original. The tapes didn't just show me dying. They showed someone else taking my place. And now everyone remembers him. I want to say I burned it, that I never watched it, never even touched it, that the black VHS with final cut, archive number 003, written in dried red ink, never made it into my hands. But that would be a lie, and there's no space left for lies anymore. because the second I stepped into that Publix and the employee handed it to me, I already knew what was going to happen. It wasn't a choice. It was a program. Back in Chicago, I came home from Florida 2 days later. Mom was still weird. Gary wouldn't even look me in the eye. I found him whispering something to the hallway mirror when he thought no one was home. I pretended I didn't see it. But as I left, my mom grabbed my arm and whispered, "He's got your hands now." I didn't ask what she meant. I didn't want to know. I took the tape back to Chicago. I didn't sleep the entire 3-hour flight. I sat in the window seat, clutching my backpack like it had a bomb in it. Because maybe it did, just not the kind you could see. The player was already on. I swear on everything. When I walked into my apartment, the VCR was already powered on. It had been unplugged for days. The little green light blinked like it had just finished recording something, but the power strip wasn't even connected to the wall. I hadn't touched it since the bathtub tape. I'd locked it in a drawer, but now it was just sitting there, waiting. And the TV, already tuned to static, not snow static, but this pulsing black and red distortion that made my skin crawl. It felt alive, like it was breathing in rhythm with my chest, or maybe forcing my chest to breathe with it. I sat down. I pushed the tape in, and it accepted it like it wanted it back. The tape begins. There's no intro, no date, no footage of my childhood. It just cuts straight to this. White room. Not a hospital, not a lab. Just this pure white, empty space. Walls, floor, and ceiling, all made of the same material, like dry porcelain. No doors, no windows. And in the center, facing away from the camera, sits a person. Same haircut as me. Same jacket. Same posture. But their head is tilted at this impossible angle, like someone had tried to snap their neck but didn't finish the job. It just hangs there, twitching slightly every few seconds, like it's struggling to stay attached. I keep waiting for the person to turn around, but they never do. Instead, a second figure enters frame. This one taller, bald, wearing a featureless black mask, and dragging something behind him. I swear I could hear it, even though the video had no sound. This wet, scraping noise, like someone pulling a body bag across tile. But what he drags into the frame isn't a body, it's a mirror. What the mirror shows. He sets it down directly in front of the seated me, the one with the twisted neck, and for the first time in my life, I pray that I won't see what I know is coming. But of course, the figure in the chair finally looks up, and I see its face. It's not mine. It's not anyone's. It's a blur, like someone took my face and scraped all the detail away, left just the suggestion of a human, the bare bones of expression. But the eyes are perfect, because they're mine. They blink the way I blink. They squint when the static pulses. They twitch in the left corner like I do when I'm anxious. And then the camera begins to zoom in on the mirror. And in the mirror, I see myself, watching this tape, sitting exactly as I am now. Only, behind me, there's someone standing, and he's holding the VHS box. The knock. I didn't even have time to react before I heard it. One knock. Heavy. From the hallway outside my apartment. Not the kind of knock people use when delivering mail or food. The kind that sounds like it knows you're watching. The kind that waits to be let in. I didn't open it. Instead, I checked the people. No one there. But when I looked down, there was a package, wrapped in brown butcher paper. No return label. No name. Just a red stamp on the top. Archive number 004. Internal use only. The USB drive. Inside the package wasn't a VHS this time. It was a USB drive. Black, old, dusty. I plugged it into my laptop because at this point, the fear of not knowing had become worse than whatever I might see. It had one folder, titled Simulation Failures. Inside, 36 video files, each one named after a date. I opened one at random, 11_04_2023.mp4. The videos are test runs. They're all the same scene. Me, in my apartment, going about normal routines, brushing teeth, cooking pasta, scrolling through Twitter. But in every video, something goes wrong. In one, I spontaneously start bleeding from my nose and eyes while I laugh at a meme. In another, I walk to the balcony and leap off with no hesitation. In the third, I peel off my face, not in gore, but like it was just a mask. And underneath is the blurred face again. Each video ends the same way, with a command prompt appearing over the screen. Simulation instance. Failed. Resetting memory core. These aren't just recordings, they're rehearsals, experiments, attempts to get me right. And I think they've almost got it. I got a call from my own number. It happened at 3:33 a.m. exactly. My phone lit up, and on the screen it said, "Incoming call." Me, you. I picked up. The voice on the other end, it was perfect. My exact voice, my cadence, my vocabulary, even the way I laugh when I'm nervous. And it said, "I think we finally fixed the glitch in your reflection. Don't look too long when you see it. You'll get confused. Just walk away when the switch is complete. You'll feel tired. You'll want to sleep. That's good. Sleep is the last backup." Then it hung up, and for 5 seconds after, my phone stayed cold, like it was turned off, even though I could still see the home screen. I can't find photos of myself anymore. I logged into my Google Photos. Gone. Every image of me. Gone. Even group photos where I used to be in the background. Cropped. Edited. Erased. I checked Instagram. Same thing. All replaced with error messages. Image data corrupted. Subject not found. I asked my ex if she still had that one Polaroid we took at the Bean in Chicago 2 years ago. She texted me back. "What are you talking about? You never went with me. I went with someone else, but he looked like you. I swear he did. One tape left. One more simulation. I don't think the lost file is for me to watch. I think it's for whoever comes after me. Maybe the one wearing my name. Maybe the one who shows up in your For You page and feels slightly off, says the right things, laughs at the right jokes, but never blinks. I don't know how much longer I have, but if you start seeing my face in places it shouldn't be, on someone's live stream, in the background of a YouTube video, or standing behind you in a Starbucks window reflection, don't wave. Don't ask questions. And for the love of God, don't let him see that you remember me. Because once he knows, you're next. I didn't expect to still be here to write this. Honestly, I didn't even expect to wake up this morning and still recognize my own thoughts. The line between what's mine and what's been written for me is so thin now that I don't know if I'm actually writing this or just remembering that I was supposed to. Let me walk you through how it ends, if it even is an ending, because this isn't just a story anymore. It's a system, and once it begins, it doesn't want to stop, not until there's nothing left of you to stop it. There was never a final tape. That USB, the one labeled archive number 004, wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the overwrite phase, and I didn't realize it until 3 days ago when I went to Walgreens to pick up a pack of NyQuil because I hadn't slept in almost 60 hours. I thought I looked like hell, but when I got to the counter, the cashier scanned my items, looked up, and said, "Didn't think I'd see you again so soon." I told him I hadn't been there in weeks. "No, man, you were just here yesterday." Said your name was Daniel, used the same card, wore the same hoodie, except that hoodie was custom, made by me, one of one. I made it with a local Chicago streetwear guy. Only 2 people have ever seen it in person, me and my ex. And now, some stranger, some other me, is walking into places I haven't gone and leaving traces that stick harder than my own memory. The footage is getting smarter. I went back to the USB and opened a file I hadn't touched before. Autolog 05, final assimilation, live, MP4. Yeah, live. It was a live stream. The timestamp flickered, not from my time zone, but from multiple time zones. It kept cycling through. PSTESTGMTCSTUTC -3 UTC +9 until it settled on one labeled U time. I didn't understand it at first, but when the footage began, my stomach dropped. It was a live stream of me, not metaphorically, not someone who looks like me. Me, sitting at my desk, typing this story. Same posture, same busted knuckle from when I punched the wall 2 nights ago. Same Starbucks cup with my name misspelled on it. John. But here's what made my blood run cold. In the stream, I stop typing, look directly into the webcam, smile, and say, "You're not writing this." I am. I got a text from my own number. No warning, no contact name, just a message that said, "Almost done. 98% uploaded." Then another. "Please remain still during the transition. Movement may cause echo errors." A few minutes later, my phone started vibrating uncontrollably. The screen glitched, flashed white, and then everything reset. All my photos reappeared. All my texts were back. All the voicemails I deleted. Even the one from Tori, whispering about the man in the trees, restored. Only, the voices were different. Each one a little slower, a little wrong. Like AI deepfakes of people I used to know. I played one from my dad. I haven't talked to him in 6 years. "Hey bud, just checking in. Haven't heard from you since the procedure. Don't forget, if you see your reflection blink before you do, it means he's already inside." I never told my dad anything about the reflections. That wasn't possible, unless he wasn't really my dad anymore. The Starbucks reflection. Yesterday, I walked into the Starbucks on Belmont again. I needed Wi-Fi. I needed noise. I needed to feel people. But when I looked in the window, just casually, like people do when you pass a storefront, I saw myself already sitting inside, facing me, smiling, sipping my drink. I froze. People walked past. The baristas kept working. No one noticed that there were 2 of me. When I finally got the courage to walk in, the chair was empty. The drink was still warm, and there was a receipt sitting next to it, paid with my card. At 9:23 a.m., 3 minutes before I even left my apartment, I got locked out of my accounts. Google, gone. Instagram, gone. Bank account, locked. Unusual login detected from unknown device. Unknown device, not new. Known, because it was still me. Just not this version. Even when I tried to reset my password, it gave me a message I've never seen before. "You've already been recovered. Thank you for your service. This session is concluded." The final phase. I went back to the closet, where I found the very first note, where it all started, and taped to the inside of the door was a printout of a web page. something like an admin dashboard. It had my name at the top. Below it, a progress bar. Identity replacement protocol. Progress, 99.8%. Status, final synchronization. Pending. Below that, memory sync. Check. Visual data. Check. Biometric mimicry. Check. Social footprint, override. Check. Emotional decay. Check. Original awareness. Still active. Wait, what the fuck? I realized then, the only reason I was still conscious, still me, was because I hadn't let go. I hadn't surrendered the last piece of myself. But that resistance is what the system was waiting to overwrite. I found a second version of this story, buried in an unlisted Medium post, published 12 hours ago, under my name, with this exact title. But the ending was different. In that version, I let the upload complete. I become him. I start sending tapes to others, and it ends with a quote. We thank you for letting us wear you. And the worst part, it had comments. People reacting like it was fiction. Creepy story, bro. This would make a sick Netflix show. I want more lore. One comment stood out though, from a user named _MirrorJohn3. It just said, he uploaded this 6 days ago. He doesn't remember. This version doesn't last long. I don't know if you're reading the real one. There might be 10 versions of this story already circulating, each one more corrupted than the last. Each one sent from a me that isn't really me anymore. You might be reading the real final version, or the test run before the next replacement goes live. But if this is reaching you, if your screen glitches when you scroll, if you start seeing versions of yourself in reflections that don't sync up, if your friends say, you already told me that, and you know you didn't, if your voice sounds like someone else's in a video you don't remember recording, then you're next. Because this isn't a curse. It's a recruitment protocol. They're collecting faces, collecting behaviors, collecting selves, uploading them into empty shells, replacing the real with rehearsed versions that nobody questions. You'll smile at people in Starbucks. You'll like memes. You'll scroll TikTok. You'll get coffee with friends who won't notice the new pause in your laugh. And by the time you feel it, it's already done. You'll read a story like this. You'll laugh. You'll move on. And the real you will be somewhere offline, buried in static, screaming behind your own face. I was hired on the dark web to move boxes from a dead man's house. They told me not to open them. So, this happened about 6 months ago. I haven't really told anyone because honestly, I don't think they'd believe me. I wouldn't believe me. But I'm just gonna throw it out there on Reddit. Maybe some of you weirdos on r/nosleep will get it. For context, I'm a 24-year-old guy, kinda stuck in that weird life limbo between I should be doing something with my life and scrolling through TikTok for 5 hours straight. I used to do odd jobs, DoorDash, the occasional freelance gig, nothing exciting. I wasn't trying to get rich. I just wanted to pay rent and buy the occasional Taco Bell combo meal without checking my bank account first. But one night, around 3:17 a.m., yeah, I remember the time because I screenshot it, I got this weird ad while I was scrolling some sketchy freelance job board someone posted in a Discord server, like dark UX, black background, gray text. Looked like a Reddit post from 2007. The title said, willing to pay $5,000, no experience needed, 3 hours of work, No questions asked. Yeah, I know. Red flag. But I was broke. You know that kind of broke where your fridge has nothing but ketchup and baking soda, and you're Googling how to survive off ramen without dying. Anyway, I clicked. It brought me to this encrypted site. Total deep web vibes. No branding, no contact info. Just a form. It asked for my email, a selfie for ID verification, and if I had a car. Here's the thing. I just watched one of those animated horror stories on YouTube. Like, I took a job from a stranger and barely survived. Kind of vibe. But real life ain't a horror cartoon, right? So I entered my info. Hit submit. Didn't even expect a reply. About 30 minutes later, I got an email. No subject. Just a weird username like interior_noir 302 at protonmail.com. The message just said, "You've been selected. Arrive at 1 p.m. sharp. Do not be late. Location, 67 Mulberry Lane, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Payment, $5,000 upon completion. Task, move the marked boxes from the garage to the van outside. Do not open any box, ever. You will be watched." Below that was a GPS link, a picture of an old white cargo van, and a time-locked QR code. Now, I don't live in Connecticut. I live in Queens, but I figured I could make the drive. 3 hours for $5,000. It almost felt stupid not to do it. Fast forward to the next day. I got there around 12:45 p.m. The neighborhood looked straight out of a postcard, like those overpriced cozy suburbs with too many American flags, dog walkers, and Starbucks cups on every porch. But the house, number 67, brother, it looked like it had been rotting for years. Windows boarded up, grass so long it had literal spiderwebs between blades, mail piling up like it hadn't been touched in months. One of those old wind chimes hanging on the porch, creaking real slow. The van was there though, exactly like the picture. White, rusty, no plates. That was red flag number 27. I parked across the street and just sat there for a minute. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Just one line. "We see you. Begin now." My stomach dropped. I got out, walked up to the garage. It was unlocked. Inside were maybe 12, 13 boxes, all marked with a weird black X and a date on each. June 9th, 1973, November 28th, 1985, January 14th, 1999. Old. Like, really old. The boxes were heavy. Not books heavy, more like something solid inside. They made this faint, metallic clinking noise when I moved them, but I wasn't about to shake them and test my luck. I just did what they asked. Box after box, I loaded the van. Took about 45 minutes. That's when things started getting weird. Box number 9. I remember it clear because it was the only one that felt warm. Not like it's been in the sun warm. I mean, body heat warm, like it had been held. I hesitated, touched the side. There was a smear, looked like grease, or something darker. Then my phone buzzed again. "Don't. Just finish." Okay, weird, but whatever. I kept going. Last box was buried under a dusty top in the back of the garage. Bigger than the others, like almost the size of a small coffin, marked with a date from 2022. Way more recent. I didn't want to touch it. I bent down, tried to get a grip, but then I heard it, scratching, from inside the box. I froze, scratching. Then, a soft thump, like something was shifting inside, trying to move. Then it stopped. My hands were shaking. I took a step back. Then my phone buzzed one last time. "Do not leave until all boxes are in the van. Finish the job. You will be paid I don't know why I listened. I wish I could say I ran. I wish I could say I called the cops or tried to open it or something, but I didn't. I finished the job. The van door closed with a hard clunk, like it sealed itself. I waited. 5 minutes later, another text. Payment sent. Never return to this address. Block this number. This conversation never happened. I checked my Cash App. $5,000. I drove off, heart pounding like crazy. The whole ride back, I kept checking the rearview mirror. That van didn't follow. No one did. I got home, locked every door, and tried to sleep. Couldn't. Then the dream started. I've been having them ever since. Same one, every night. I'm in that garage. The boxes are stacked around me. I hear the scratching, but it's louder now, like claws against cardboard. The floor starts to shake. The wind chime starts spinning so fast, it sounds like screaming. And then the big box in the back. It opens, but I always wake up before I see what's inside. I've tried to forget it. I even moved apartments, changed my number, wiped my devices. But sometimes I still get emails from that same Proton Mail address. Just subject lines. We remember you. Another job is coming. You open the door. I don't know what that lost one means. I didn't open anything, right? There's no real way to describe what it's like when your life tilts, you know? Not crashes, not explodes, not even spirals. Just tilts. Like your world shifts a few degrees sideways, and now everything looks normal, but feels completely wrong. That's where I've been ever since I took that job. And I swear, to whatever is left of my sanity, something followed me home. It started small. Day after the job, I noticed a smell in my apartment. It was faint at first, metallic, wet, like blood on a dirty coin. You ever accidentally bite your cheek and taste iron? That, but stronger, like it was coming through the vents. I cleaned everything, checked the fridge, the trash, the sink. Nothing, but it wouldn't go away. That same night, my upstairs neighbor, a chill guy named Brandon, knocked on my door looking pale as hell, like real pale, eyes bloodshot. He said, "Yo man, do you keep weird hours now?" I heard footsteps above me all night, heavy ones, like someone dragging furniture. But you live below me. I didn't say anything, because I didn't hear a damn thing. And that smell, it got worse the next day. But then something happened that actually made me panic. I got a package, no label, no return address, just sitting on my doormat in a plain black box, tied with twine. I stared at it for like 10 minutes before I even touched it. When I finally did, it was warm, like that box in the garage. I didn't want to open it. Every instinct screamed no, but I'm a dumb human with curiosity and 2 functioning thumbs. So, yeah, I opened it. Inside was a single item, a Polaroid photo, black and white, grainy. It showed me asleep in my bed, but the thing that sent ice up my spine. There was something standing in the corner of the room, a tall silhouette, long limbs, no face, arms too long, fingers too thin, like it had been folded into the shadows, and under the photo was a sticky note. "You weren't supposed to look." I threw up, like, physically, ran to the sink and hurled. It didn't feel like fear. It felt like infection, like I'd let something in. I left the apartment that night, stayed in my car, parked in a Target lot, like a total sketchball. I didn't even sleep. Every time I blinked, I could still see that figure in the photo. Next morning, I went back to the apartment. I told myself I was just imagining things. Lack of sleep, stress, something normal, explainable. But my apartment wasn't how I left it. Nothing was stolen, but things were wrong. Every mirror in the apartment, bathroom, hallway, even my makeup mirror from Halloween, was turned face to the wall. And in the middle of my living room was a cardboard box. A new one, no label. Same black X, but this one had no date. Just a note taped to the top that said, "You saw it. Now it will see you. I lost it." I called the police. I told them someone broke in, left weird stuff, that I thought I was being stalked. They came, did a walkthrough, treated me like I was maybe high or sleep deprived or both. One of the officers, older guy, lingered by the box and kinda muttered, "Weird. We had another call like this a few weeks ago. Same kind of box I asked where." He paused. Guy lived out in New Haven. Box showed up on his porch. He disappeared a week later. His dog was found outside his door, starving, growling at the walls. They left. I didn't open the box, but that night, I heard something inside it. I swear to God, Reddit, it wasn't scratching this time. It was breathing. Long, slow, deliberate breaths, like something asleep, or waiting. I didn't sleep. Again, I just sat in my chair, in the corner of my bedroom, lights on, baseball bat in hand, watching the door. Every creak felt like footsteps. Every shadow looked like that figure from the photo. My brain started playing tricks on me. I thought I saw something behind the shower curtain. My reflection blinked a second too slow. Little crap like that. Then, 3:33 a.m. Of course it was. My phone buzzed. No number, no ID, just a message. "Open it, or we will." A second later, I hear my front door unlock, not break open, unlock, click. I bolted up, ran to the living room. The door was open maybe 2 inches. No one there. But the box, the tape was peeled back, not cut, not ripped, just peeled. Slowly, like someone opened it while I was in the other room. I walked up to it, like a man approaching his own grave. Looked inside. At first, nothing. Just black. Deep, unsettling black. It didn't look like cardboard inside. It looked like void, like looking into a pit with no bottom. Then something inside the darkness moved and whispered my name. My full name, not just first and last. Middle name, too. I slammed the box shut and just ran. Left everything. I haven't been back. I moved across the state. Got a new number, new job, different name on everything. But they still find me. Every couple weeks I get another email, another package, another photo of me sleeping. I don't know who they are. I don't know what I delivered in those boxes, or what was in the last one. I don't even know if the man who lived in that house was dead, or if he was something worse. But I know this. I opened the box. I let it see me. And now, it's waiting. There's no normal anymore. That's not me being poetic or dramatic. I mean literally. I can't trust the clock on my wall. I can't trust the sky when it gets dark. I can't even trust the sound of my own fucking footsteps anymore. Because now, it walks with me. And it's not hiding. After I left the apartment, after I left that final box, whispering my full name from the darkness inside, I swore I'd disappear. I didn't just move across the state. I changed everything. Burner phone, fake name, used gift cards only, slept in cheap motels like I was running from the FBI. I stopped looking at my reflection. I stopped standing near windows. I stopped sleeping with the lights off. But none of it mattered, because whatever was in that box is following me. Or maybe it never left. Maybe I carried it out myself. Maybe I'm the box now. I know that sounds insane. I know how it sounds. But let me walk you through what happened next, and you tell me what the hell this could be. I was staying in a place called Maple Lodge Inn, about 15 minutes off a rural road in Pennsylvania. It looked like something from a faded 1970s postcard. Floral curtains, dusty vending machines, buzzing neon sign that flickered every few seconds like a dying firefly. The guy who ran the desk was 90% sleep paralysis demon and 10% chain smoker. He didn't ask for ID, which I appreciated. The room had this ancient TV with no cable, just static when you turned it on. No Wi-Fi, no locks on the windows. The bed smelled like ash and lemon cleaner. I didn't care. I just needed to not be found. First night was quiet. Second night wasn't. I woke up at 2:12 a.m. on the dot. Not from a nightmare, not from sound. Just suddenly awake. Room was dead silent. The kind of silence that feels heavy, like the walls were holding their breath. That's when I noticed something was different. The chair in the corner, the one I always kept facing the wall, was turned around, facing me, dead center, pointed toward the bed, like someone had been sitting there, watching. I stared at it for 10 minutes, unmoving, waiting for a twitch, a shadow, anything, and then my phone buzzed. I hadn't given that number to anyone. No ID, no name, just a message. You left the door open. It's inside now. My heart dropped. I didn't even look at the door at first. I looked at the mirror across the room, the one bolted to the wall, barely clean enough to see your reflection. In it, I saw myself, and something standing behind me. It wasn't shaped right. Too tall, head bent, arms too long, like they were dislocated at the elbow. And where its face should have been? A box. Not a box covering its head. No, its head was the box. Sealed, black, marked with that same X. I turned around, ready to swing the lamp or do anything, but nothing was there. Just the smell. That same rusty, warm metal smell. I slept in the bathtub that night, holding a screwdriver like it was a weapon. Every 5 minutes, I swore I heard something crawling in the vents. By morning, the room was cold. Unnaturally cold. I checked my phone. New message. You should have left it sealed. I left the motel that day. Didn't check out. Didn't look back. But here's where it gets worse. I started finding them. The boxes. In gas stations. In bathrooms. At a freaking Wendy's. Right next to the napkin dispenser. Always the same size. Always marked with an X. Always with something off nearby. A flickering light. A crying child with no parents. A security camera pointed right at me. One night, I found a box in my car, just sitting on the passenger seat, like it had always been there. My stomach clenched, and I actually considered crashing the car into a fucking tree, just to not have to deal with it. But the box didn't move, didn't speak, just sat there, like it was waiting. I drove to the edge of a lake near an abandoned amusement park in Jersey. Weirdly specific, I know, but I was trying to go somewhere nobody goes. I threw the box in, watched it sink, waited 5 full minutes to be sure it was gone. When I got back in the car, there was a Polaroid on my dashboard. Me, standing next to the lake, box still in my hands. It didn't stop. I started losing time. I'd wake up in different clothes. One time, I found muddy footprints all over my carpet, but my shoes were clean. Another time, I woke up with dirt under my nails and a receipt in my pocket from a hardware store 70 miles away. What did I buy? A shovel, cash, no name, no memory. I called the store, pretending I left something behind. The cashier remembered me, said I was mumbling to myself, said I was laughing while buying it, said I asked for directions to the nearest wooded area. I haven't been able to sleep properly since. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I checked my email one day. Not the new account. The old one. The one tied to the job that started all of this. It had been reactivated. Inbox was full. All from the same address. Interior_noir 302 at protonmail.com. The subject lines were all timestamps. No messages, just time and date. Each one matched a moment I blacked out. Every message had a .jpeg attached. Photos. Every single one was of me, standing next to a box, opening it. And in the most recent photo, I wasn't alone. There were others, people standing around me, their faces blurred or scratched out. Some had no faces at all, just flesh, stretched where eyes should be. Others wore black hoods. One of them looked exactly like me. Same build, same jacket, same hands, but no face, just a box. Now, this part, this is what's going to sound fake. This is where people check out and call it fiction. But I don't care anymore, because last week I woke up in a place I didn't recognize. Underground, concrete walls, no windows, smelled like copper and mold. There were markings on the walls, X's drawn in black tar-like ink. My wrists were red, raw, like I'd been tied. In front of me was a table. On it, a human tooth, a baby monitor, and a VHS tape labeled with my name. I didn't touch any of it. I ran. I don't remember how I got out, but I woke up in my car, parked in front of a 24-hour McDonald's in Philadelphia. There was a napkin taped to my steering wheel, written in black marker, "One more box left. We're almost done with you." I haven't slept since. I see shadows moving where there shouldn't be shadows. I see reflections in screens that don't match what's in front of them. My nose bleeds randomly now. My nails fall off and grow back wrong. My dog, the only thing keeping me grounded, started growling at empty corners of the room and stopped eating. He disappeared 2 nights ago. I found a paw print on the fridge, upside down. I don't know what they want. I don't know what the final box is, but it's coming. And if I don't finish the job, I think I'll become the next delivery. And the worst part? I think I've already started changing. I looked in the mirror today, and for half a second, my head wasn't mine. It was a box, sealed, marked with an X. There's this moment when you're past the point of fear, when the skin doesn't crawl, it just accepts, when your body gives up on sending adrenaline and just watches, like your brain's at the back of your skull, hands folded, waiting to see what you'll do now. I hit that point last night, and whatever this thing is, it knows. It knows I've stopped running, and now it's not trying to hide anymore. It started with the noise in the walls, not rats, not the kind of scratching you hear in a motel with bad insulation. This was pacing. 3 steps, pause, 3 steps, always parallel to wherever I stood. If I'd moved into the bathroom, it followed. Living room, still there, like something was mirroring me on the other side of the drywall. I tapped once, it tapped back, but then I hit it harder, like I'm done with this. Harder, and something tapped twice. Not a response, a correction. It was teaching me something. That was Tuesday. By Thursday, the pacing turned into whispers. I'm not going to bother typing them all out, but I wrote some of them down. We keep the ones who open. You look better with the lid on. He begged not to be sealed. You won't get that luxury. Why do you think there were no instructions? Your mouth is just the first box, and then the one that made me stop writing. You delivered what used to be you. I don't know what that means. I don't think I want to know. So last night, I finally decided I'd try to burn it all down. I drove back to the house. Yeah, the house. The one from the beginning. 67 Mulberry Lane, Bridgeport. I had to see it again. I had to know if it was still there, or if it was ever real to begin with. Let me tell you something that still hasn't settled right in my bones. That house wasn't abandoned anymore. It was alive. Not just repainted or cleaned up. No, alive. Breathing. Lights on, curtains open, smoke rising from the chimney. There were lights on in the garage. The same garage where I moved the boxes. I parked a block away, took my time, brought lighter fluid, matches, a knife, and my phone. Not because I thought I could win, just because I needed to try something real. When I reached the front lawn, I swear I heard laughter. Not loud, not joyful, just soft, just behind the glass, like something inside was mocking me for thinking I'd even come this far. I walked to the garage. It was unlocked. Of course it was. The second I stepped inside, I swear, the air felt thick, not hot, just dense, like you were walking through something invisible. The boxes were back, all of them, stacked neatly, black X's, dates. My breath started fogging up, even though the air wasn't cold. That's when I noticed the calendar on the wall. It wasn't blank. It was filled with names. One for every day. First names. Sometimes first and last. All written in the same handwriting. Scratchy, angry, red marker. Names I didn't recognize. Except for the one at the very bottom. Tomorrow. My full name. I should have left. I know. But I didn't. Because sitting in the middle of the room was one more box. Bigger than the others. Blacker than the others. And there was no tape this time. It was open. Waiting. I walked toward it like I wasn't controlling my legs. My hands were numb. I looked inside. And I swear to you, I saw my own face. Eyes closed. Skin pale. Like I was looking into a casket, and then its eyes opened, and it started screaming, but not like a normal scream, not even human. It was every sound you don't remember from your dreams. That screech when you fall and wake up, the crunch when your teeth fall out in nightmares. All of it, coming from my own mouth. I stumbled back, fell, hit the concrete hard. When I looked up, the face was gone, but the box was sealed, with me inside, not metaphorically. I was standing there, looking at a box with my name on it, now sealed, taped shut with blackened fingerprints on the edges, and behind me, I heard the garage door creak. I turned. There were others, people with no faces, blank heads, some of them twitching, shaking like they were caught in slow-motion seizures. One of them was in a blood-soaked USPS uniform, holding a clipboard. Another wore a janitor's outfit from the motel I stayed at. One was barefoot, holding a leash with no dog. They surrounded me, and in the middle of them, me. Again, my face, smiling, wearing a box like a mask. He handed me another box, smaller, wrapped in twine. Ticking. He whispered, "It's your turn to deliver." I woke up in my car again. No idea how I got there. Windows fogged, doors locked from the inside, keys in my lap. Next to me was a box. You already know what kind, but this one didn't have my name on it. It had yours. If you're reading this, it already knows you looked. Whatever you do, don't open the box. Don't answer unknown numbers, and for the love of everything that still matters, don't fall asleep. There is no warning sound when your mind fractures, no shatter, no snap. You don't hear it, you feel it, like falling without the motion, like watching the lights flicker on a plane midair. and pretending the turbulence doesn't mean you're already dead, just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up. I'm writing this from a place that doesn't exist. I don't mean that dramatically. I mean that in every digital sense. IP blocked, hardware shredded, GPS spoofed so hard even God couldn't find me. But it doesn't matter anymore, because if you're reading this, it already knows where you are. I didn't run after part 4. I didn't hide. I accepted the box, the one with your name on it. It was small, heavy, the kind of heavy that doesn't make sense. That density you feel in dreams when you're dragging something impossible. It smelled like dirt, and heat, and birth. I didn't open it at first. I drove with it for hours, passing it from seat to seat, trying to ignore the cold sweat that soaked through my hoodie. I kept hearing scraping, like nails or claws, but dull, broken. Then I passed a roadside shrine, one of those forgotten ones on a highway bend. Candles melted down to nubs, teddy bear rotting in the sun, faded photo of a kid, and at its center, a black box, no name, no tape, just sitting there, melting into the earth. I pulled over. I couldn't breathe, because when I blinked, that photo of the kid, it changed. It was me. Same face, same scar over my eyebrow from when I fell off my bike in 7th grade. Same chipped tooth, but younger, smiling, like he didn't know what was coming. I lost hours after that. Woke up in the woods, box still in my hands, car nowhere nearby, tongue raw like I'd been chewing it, and my voice, hoarse, burned. I tried speaking, and nothing came out but a rasp. I checked my phone. Front camera was on, recording. The last file was 4 hours and 13 minutes long. I watched the first 2 minutes. Just me, sitting on the forest floor, holding the box, staring into the lens, not blinking, not moving, until I smiled. But it wasn't my smile. It stretched too far, like the skin was just pretending to be mine. I skipped ahead in the video. That's when I saw it. You. You were in the frame. No, not you now. You as you read this? Sitting there? Not yet. You were in the background, blurred, standing behind a tree, eyes too wide, hands twitching, like they were holding on to something that wasn't there. And at the very end of the footage, I handed the box toward the screen, like I was giving it to whoever was watching, and the screen glitched, just once, like it accepted the handoff. That night, I slept under a collapsed billboard, rain leaking through the boards. I dreamt of boxes, thousands of them, stacked like buildings, pulsing like organs, and I dreamt of the man, the first one, the one whose house I moved them from. He didn't die. He's still there, somewhere deeper in the chain. A courier who opened a box that didn't belong to him, and something climbed inside. Now he's not human. Not really. He's part of the system, the delivery loop. They call it the chain. I met one of them. Not him. Another. She looked normal. Wore a Starbucks apron, blonde streak in her hair, freckles. You'd never think she was hollow, until you got close enough to hear her breathing out of the back of her head. She sat next to me on the train like nothing was wrong, slid a napkin into my hand, got off at the next stop. On the napkin, "We are all postmen now. Some of us just haven't delivered. Yet, last night was the final call." My phone rang at 3:33 a.m. I answered. There was no voice, just the sound of tape being peeled, slow, wet, over and over again. Then a whisper, "We need your face." I laughed, not because it was funny, because by then, they already had it. I'm not me anymore. I don't mean that figuratively. I watched myself from across the street this morning. He wore my hoodie. He had my limp. Same phone case. Same scar. Same dreams, probably. But when he turned around, his head was a box, sealed, black tape, faint heartbeat pulsing under the cardboard, and he smiled with teeth made of splinters. I'm not the courier anymore. I'm the cargo, and that's why I'm writing this. Because you read it, which means you've been marked, which means a box is already on its way to you. It doesn't need your address. It knows where you've sat longest. It knows the shape of your hands, the frequency of your heartbeat. It knows how loud you breathe when you sleep. And when it arrives, you'll hear it before you see it. A knock, not at the door, inside the wall, 3 times, then silence, then your name, full, middle included, the way no one says it but your mother when she's afraid. You won't remember requesting it. You won't remember the transaction, but the box never forgets. It's your turn to carry it now. And whatever you do, don't open it, don't smell it, don't sleep with it in the room. And when the voice calls you from the box, don't answer, because the second you do, you're next. You're sealed. You're part of the chain, forever